We've reached the quarter mark of the NHL season, and that means it's time for some deep thoughts on the Tampa Bay Lightning and the rest of the NHL. More on today's Locked on Lightning.
You're Locked on Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked on Lightning your first listen of the day every single day. We are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. As always, we want to begin with a shout out to our everydayers. Those of you who tune into every single show, every single day, we love you guys and we appreciate the support you give us week in and week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the Lane Kiffin to my Wit Weeks, Greg Steven. Greg, welcome in, my friend.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Another big one tonight against the Islanders away, and Hot Take Tuesday today as well.
Yeah, we got some good stuff coming up on hand. Hot Take Tuesday, one of our favorite segments. Greg and I are going to be giving each other hot takes that we found on the internet, fan forums, and judge whether they're hot takes or whether they have some merit behind them. We also got the New York Islanders coming up tonight on the Tampa Bay Lightning schedule, some picks and predictions and keys to the game for that one. And we've reached the quarter mark of the NHL season, which means it's time for some deep thoughts on the league so far. A lot to get to on today's show. Let's kick it all off by mentioning today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live bets all season long. All right, Greg, every team now has played at least 20 games in the NHL, which means we have hit the quarter mark. Time flies, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels like it just started.
Yeah. Boy, this year has flown by fast. It's interesting because obviously you look at where the Tampa Bay Lightning are now, top of the Atlantic Division, 34 points, which is tied for third best record in the entire NHL.
Yep.
You mentioned all those things and you're like, okay, cool. Exactly where you thought the Lightning would be in the end. That's without the context of everything that they've been through this season. And to me, Greg, the fact that we're sitting here at quarter mark and talking about the Lightning in first place while going back and talking about the slow start, talking about some key injuries to Victor Hedman, to Braden Point, to Ryan McDonough, to some other players like Brandon Hagel who missed a game, some other players who have been in and out of the lineup. To me, what the Lightning are doing so far, it's got to be one of the more impressive stories in the NHL.
Yeah, completely agree. Like you said, with all the injuries they've had, to be in third overall is pretty remarkable, especially after the start they had, which was abysmal, by the way. The recovery thus far has been remarkable, and they're still on the 7-game win streak, and it could be 8 tonight. Just saying.
Yeah.
Probably just jinxed it. Whatever.
Yeah, and congratulations to Matthew Schaefer on his hat trick in tonight's
game. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it is, I think it's impressive for, what the Tampa Bay Lightning have done this season. And look, he's not going to win it. But if there is ever a time in which you look at the Jon Cooper coaching job and say, this might be the best coaching job of the year, this might be Jack Adams worthy, you have to put in context, like everything the Lightning have been through this season, right? And look at Jon Cooper and look at these players that have stepped up in some of the big guns absences and go, yeah, he's on to something this year.
Yeah, the roster management has been excellent. We've seen so many different faces in this lineup so far, and he's just done a great job. I think he brings out the best in some of these guys. Like we've seen Dominic James develop right before our eyes. In 25 games, he's improved tremendously. And I think he's become a key part of the team. And, that goes for a lot of these guys like Dastu, right? I mean, yeah. He also, we didn't even have him really on the radar at all. And look, now he's a key guy on the defense. So yeah, like you said, I think Jon Cooper has done an elite job here. And like you said, I don't think he's going to win it either, but definitely deserves a little bit of a shout out at least.
Yeah, you also got to shout out, Stacey Roost. You got to shout out Joel Bouchard, all these players who have there are all these people in the front office who have really stepped in for player development because the Lightning are getting some really good players from all across the board.
Yeah.
Rick, let's talk about the NHL now at the quarter season mark. Looking at sort of where the NHL is, the action, the storylines from the first couple months of the season, what are some things that I think stand out the most to you?
I think some teams that I really thought would not be so great are great. And I like that a lot. I would say, actually, I'm just going to give a general review so far of this season. This has been one of my more favorite seasons in the last 5 years, I think. And maybe it's because it's so, I don't want to say entirely different, because look, the top four are the Avs, the Stars, the Lightning, and the Canes, and that's not exactly a switch up. But then you look a little more closely and you see the Ducks up there in fifth, right? You got the Flyers in a playoff spot. You got the Penguins in a playoff spot. And mind you, yesterday you said, the Penguins maybe were probably going to fall out. But then Crosby notches 2 goals last night. And I was like,
yeah. You've been on the Crosby bandwagon this year, too. Want to point that out. And he's still having a great year.
Yeah. But then you also see things like the Leafs in 28th, quarter way through. Not so good. You lose Marner, and all of a sudden you don't look so hot. Panthers, we kind of expected them to struggle a bit this season with their injuries. They're in 27th, something you don't see often. Oilers, 23rd. I mean, just a lot of shakeup this season. And I really enjoy the change that we're seeing so far. And let me just toss in my last comment. The San Jose Sharks winning 6-3 yesterday and locking in 17th place so far. They look excellent. So yeah, a lot of big changes to a lot of teams so far.
Yeah, I feel like the big storyline around the NHL is like this is the arrival of the next wave. We talked about Celebrini. We talked about Connor Bedard leading the charge. We've talked, Anaheim Ducks are in first place right now in their division. And, you talk about Leo Carlson also being in the top 10. And it seems like the big storyline is like, okay, the next wave is here. But to me, Greg, I look around the NHL standings, and if you just rank all teams top to bottom based on points, who are the top 4 this year? Tampa, Colorado, Dallas, and Carolina, the usual suspects.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of the thing is there's this next wave coming, but it's still the big guns holding tight. And to me, it's almost a sign in which, and this might be one of those things where I wind up just jinxing everything, and we're going to see like the New Jersey Devils versus the Anaheim Ducks in the Stanley Cup this year. Right. But to me, it's all these up and coming teams are on the way, but it's still the old guards that are holding strong and being like, not yet. Right. Not yet. And it's kind of the usual suspects at the top. And to me, I feel like that's a big thing too, is that with all this fun parity, with all this up and coming, it's still the old guard standing strong at the top. And I think that's kind of a signal. It's like, look, hey, New Jersey, Chicago, San Jose, Anaheim, all these teams that are on the up and up, if you're going to want to be the elite, you're going to have to knock the elite off the top of the NHL. Because I think those 4 teams in particular at the top of the league, us, Carolina, Colorado, and Dallas, to me, I think each of them are only getting better. Yeah. I think it's going to be, I still think those 4, I called it before the season, I think they're going to be the favorites. And I also wouldn't, I talk about that tier. I also would keep an eye on the team that's currently in 27th place in the NHL, and that's the Florida Panthers. And they're going to get healthy, and they're going to come back, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with because they've won the last 2 cups. So I still think you're seeing the usual suspects running the league this year.
Yeah, I think when Tkachuk gets healthy, we're going to see a big swing for that team. And I think they're going to get real hot, and I think they're going to get in. And then all of a sudden, everyone has something to fear in the postseason.
Yeah. It's going to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I agree with you. This is one of the most fun seasons I think I've followed at the beginning so far. maybe not the first 7 Lightning games, but the
No.
rest of the NHL season
It was doom and gloom at first.
Yeah, I remember being here for those podcasts. Look, it's cool that it's kind of a distant memory now. Hopefully it stays a distant memory because there's still a lot of hockey left to play, including, Greg, a game tonight on Long Island against the New York Islanders. We'll talk about some picks to predictions and how the Lightning shut down Matthew Schaefer and company coming up next on Locked on Lightning. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything about the game feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum, every swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. Maybe a receiver gets hot. Maybe a defense tightens up, or maybe there's a big turnover and suddenly the other team that's down starts to build some momentum. What I love about FanDuel is it lets you jump into the moment as the game plays out. The live spreads and money lines adjust instantly to big moments in the game. Player props update as guys start to heat up or cool down, and you can bet next. Touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility, and that's why those live bets with FanDuel are so much fun. So, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this football season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Again, that's FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. We're back here on Locked on Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Steven. And Greg, we have Lightning taking on the New York Islanders tonight on Long Island. That was my little Long Island accent that slipped in there. I don't know if it was good. I'm sure there's Islanders fans that will roast me if it was not. Big road test for the Lightning tonight because the New York Islanders are one of those teams, Greg, that are kind of, flirting with being on the up and up. 13-10-3, not in a playoff spot right now, but they're certainly in the hunt, although they have lost their last 3 games. Greg, what do you see when you watch this Islanders team?
Honestly, they don't impress me that much. Schaefer, though, excellent player. I think this should be a win for the Lightning. And I say that because of a lot of things. Islanders power play, horrendous. 29th in the league. Penalty kill, 12th, pretty mid. They score 2.88 goals a game. That's 22nd in the league, and you got to get it through Vasi after that. While that's your average, not so good. And then, like you said, they're on a 3-game losing streak. They've dropped 4 of their last 5, and their only win was in a shootout against the Kraken, which, again, not that impressive. So I think they're not looking so great right now. And this is a team that you should be capitalizing on if you're the Lightning to pick up 2 points. And the other thing I look at is in their last 5 games, their biggest scorer is Schaefer with 4 points.
Yeah.
And that's pretty low for 5 games. I mean, usually there's a guy on the team has more than 5 points in 5 games. Because if you look at the Lightning side, Kucherov has 13 points in his last 5 games. So, yeah, no one over there looking particularly impressive. I also think Palmieri was a big loss for them.
Yeah. Not every team can have a Nikita Kucherov, though.
No.
Yeah, they do have Bo Horvat, who started off very hot, although last couple games he's slowed down a little bit. You have to keep an eye on Matthew Barzal as well. To me, I think the key to this game for me, Greg, is going to be the Lightning top line that we talked about yesterday, or the big 4 offense that's left right now: Nikita Kucherov, Brandon Hagel, Jake Gensel, Anthony Cirelli. Those people have absolutely carried the offense through this 7-game winning streak that the Lightning are on right now. And I think if you're going to this game, I'm with you. The Lightning have way much more firepower, and I think it's going to be up to the Lightning's big guns to sort of overwhelm the Islanders.
Yeah.
And look, the Islanders have some good players. I don't think they have answers for all four of those guys. So, if you're Brandon Hagel, if you're Nikita Kucherov, you want to keep your hot streak going tonight. You want to get on the score sheet early, and you want to get on the score sheet often. And you also want some contributions from guys like Jake Gensel and Anthony Cirelli, to get on the score sheet, whether assist or finishing plays. I think if you're those four guys, and I'm looking at them to be the answer for tonight's game. And I don't think that there's anybody on the Islanders that can match up with those four.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And the other thing is this top line right now, Hagel, Cirelli, Cooch, I almost like it better than Cooch, Point, and whoever.
Well, especially this year.
Well, yeah, but geez, it just looks so sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to sit here and not be worried because Point is going to still be sitting, I'd assume. And like we kind of touched on yesterday, we're missing 3 starting defensemen.
Yeah.
And I'm just not even concerned anymore. I almost think it's better this way. And I like the team how it is right now. I know you're going to give me that smirk. But look, JJ Moser is plus 16. He's just playing some defense out there. And then they pair him up with Radish, who's just been on fire on offense.
Yeah. And defense.
And defense. And then your second pair is Dastu, who I feel pretty comfortable with in all situations, with Lilleberg, who's our physical guy over there. And then obviously your third pairing is going to be Carlisle and Santini, but I think they've done their job. So I'm not really concerned there. But yeah, like you said, I think that top line, if they can play their game, this should be a win.
I agree with you. I want to talk about Matthew Schaefer for a second, because he's been one of my favorite players to watch this season. Across the entire NHL. I made the hot take in a Hot Take Tuesday a couple of years ago that I think, let's say 6-7 years down the road, he's going to be mentioned in the same sort of quality and aura as Cale Makar. I think he's going to be that good. I think you've seen elements of it this year. Greg, how do you slow down a player like that? What's the key for the Lightning to stop that kind of attack starting from the Islanders' blue line?
Yeah, great question. I think a lot of it is intelligence in the neutral zone and not letting him fly in on his own, like a Makar style, if you will, end to end. You got to make sure breaking the puck out for the Islanders is a difficult task. Because again, if you give him time, he will burn you. And you don't want to let the Islanders set up in your zone. I think that's a big part of it as well. You want to be in the corner on those pucks every time, play physical. And yeah, I kind of just mentioned, their power play is not super deadly. So I'm not terribly fearful of that. I think this is a game where you do really need to play disciplined. I think if you play this disciplined and your top line performs, it's just a lock. But then again, you send Lilleberg in there and he gets 6 minutes of penalties, and then Schaefer gets 3 power play goals. You're kind of toast.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen, though. I'm going to call something right here.
Okay.
Because this is the picks and predictions section.
This is.
Vasilevsky will get a shutout tonight.
Ooh. He's just coming off his first of the year a few games ago. So, All right. I'm going to hold you to that. That leads me to my next question, Greg. It's the dreaded over-under. And according to our friends at FanDuel, the over-under on total goals tonight is 6.5.
6.5? What?
6.5 total goals.
In what world? I'm going under.
Well, if you're going to go over, you're clearly thinking the Lightning are going to score 7 tonight.
Right, that's why I can't. There's no way.
Here's the thing. The conventional wisdom in me, you know what? Nope, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under. I'm not going to say what I was about to say because that's going to jinx the team.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm thinking 3 or 4-0. That's my prediction.
Okay, yeah, I'm predicting a lower scoring game.
I'm with you.
I'm not going to say what I was about to say. I'm also that's maybe not necessarily what I believe, but the last time I said, "Oh, it's going to be a blowout," the Lightning got blown out. So
yep.
So, hey, I predict a great game tonight, Greg. That's what I predict.
Nice, tight, close one.
Yeah. Real quick, give me somebody that you feel like might score a goal tonight.
Who am I feeling tonight? I'm kind of feeling. I think Cirelli gets one.
Plus 260 odds, anytime goal for him. And I agree. I think he's on that top line that's really cooking right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him finish off. I don't know how you don't go Nikita Kucherov at plus 160 on this one. Absolutely on fire. Hottest player in the NHL over the past 2 weeks. Brandon Hagel, though, right there with him. I don't know. I'm feeling a Cooch goal contribution tonight.
Nice.
All right. So there you go. Now that we've said all that, we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about the New York Islanders 5-0 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always how it works out. Stay with us tomorrow. We'll recap everything that happens at the game, big storylines, and we'll have the recap for anybody who who wound up not being able to see the game. More on that coming up tomorrow. But first, more action to get to today. The calendar says Tuesday, which means it's time for Hot Take Tuesday. Greg and I are going to be giving each other some hot takes we found on the interwebs and maybe some of our own when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by Drip Drop. Guys, I know when I'm hydrated, everything just works better. Focus, energy, mood, even my skin. This doesn't take care of itself, y'all. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands, using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro trips. I love using Drip Drop as part of my daily routine. All I do is mix a packet in my morning bottle of water when I get up, shake it up, and down it throughout the morning. It tastes amazing. It doesn't have that weird, salty electrolyte taste some of those other packets do. It's become my morning weapon for beating that midday slump and staying focused all season long. Drip Drop helps me feel sharper, calmer, and honestly, just overall better. If you want to try it yourself, Drip Drop is offering Locked On Lightning listeners 20% off your first order. All you have to do is go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. Again, that's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 20% off. Stock up now and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. We are back on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Steven. And Greg, what time is it, my friend? It is time to unmute your mic.
Great point. It's Hot Take Tuesday, and I can't wait to throw some old ones back at you.
Oh, okay. I like where this is going. All right, start us off then.
All right.
Well, actually, first, let me preface this by how it works for anybody who's new. Basically, what Greg and I do is we take hot takes that we have found online, maybe some storylines going around Twitter or maybe some Reddit post. And we grade them. We say whether they are hot takes or whether they're actually plausible. And I will add to the online hot takes. Apparently, there's some that I made that Greg has pulled up. So, Greg, why don't you start us off?
All right, I'm going to let you try and change your answer here, maybe.
Okay.
The Colorado Avalanche will end this season with fewer than 10 regulation losses.
I mean, they're at a quarter of the way through, and they're 18-1-6. So,
but last time you said you weren't so sure.
I think last time I was all out on it. I think I shut that down pretty quickly. I feel like that's a tough hill to climb. I would be honestly. If the Colorado Avalanche lose fewer than 10 regulation games, they're the best regular season team in NHL history, which recent history would say they're probably done in the first round of the playoffs, but I don't know. I'm holding strong. I think that's a hot take, Greg.
Wow.
I'm holding strong. I don't think any team can keep that up for that long. If I'm wrong, wow, that would be incredible.
I'm going to ask you this every single
Hot Take Tuesday. We're going to have a check-in. Okay.
Do you want to change your answer yet?
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Hot take. The Toronto Maple Leafs, bottom of the standings, will keep their trajectory going and miss the playoffs this year, Greg.
I was going to ask you the same question.
Were you really? Oh,
yep.
Good minds think alike.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I don't think they make it. I think there's too many good teams in the East this year, and they look terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think they miss. I'm with that.
It's hard to bet against that top of the lineup. And, obviously Marner is not there, but William Nylander has been on fire. Austin Matthews has been hurt, this season, but, 10 goals from him. They obviously have John Tavares. Matthew Nyes has had a big year, Morgan Riley. So it's weird because they're getting contributions from a lot of different places. It's just they're struggling to find consistency anywhere else on defense. It's hard to bet against them, Greg.
Is it?
It's hard to bet against them. I
think their goaltending is just so poor as well.
Well, Stolarz is number one. I know Joseph Woll has had some issues at current points this year. I think they have another backup who's done okay too, but I don't know. I'm going to say medium take. Okay. I'm going to say like a medium take because I don't think it's a hot take to say they're going to miss. I also don't think it's a hot take to say that they're going to turn things around in the second half of the season.
They are in last in the division. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, but are you picking the Sabres or the Maple Leafs down the stretch?
I mean, the
Leafs. We'll also point out they're tied with Florida right now. So,
yeah, true. Yeah, it's definitely a recoverable season. That's for sure. I don't think they're by any means out, but yeah, I'm gonna go with they don't make it.
All right. Next hot take, Greg. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah. Do you want another old one?
Yeah, keep them coming, man.
Macklin Celebrini.
Oh no.
Is a top 5 NHLer.
Okay, so you said top 5 NHLer.
Yeah.
So it's different than like finishing in the top 5 in points or anything like that.
Okay, let's do top 5 in points.
Top 5 points. I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Okay. Top 5 NHLer now.
Okay, top 5 NHLer. No, I don't think so yet. But by the time the season ends, I think we can come back to this conversation and maybe have a deeper discussion next year. Because I can think of multiple off the top of my head right now.
Okay, name the 5 that you think are better.
Name all 5?
Yeah.
Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, Nikita Kucherov, and I'd throw Leon Draisaitl in that.
Oh yeah. Whoa. Okay. All right.
And I honestly might, when he's healthy, throw Connor Hellebuck in that too.
Hellebuck?
Yeah.
Interesting.
When he's healthy.
Okay. I respect that. I don't disagree necessarily. I would put Celebrini above Draisaitl right now, but
okay, that's a hot take right there.
I don't think so. I really don't. If you watch Celebrini's defensive game, he's just so smart. Even everything he does is it's insane. I'm so blown away. Every time I watch this kid, I'm like, it's funny because every time I watch a Sharks game now, I think he's going to look terrible because Nick said he's not as good as I think he is. And then I watch him and he does some crazy stuff. And I'm like,
I didn't say he's not good. Yeah, I didn't say he's not good.
I know.
Yeah. I'm just saying he's not a top player yet, which I think is fair.
It's all fun and games. Is fun to watch him. He's just a great guy to watch. His offense too. He does so many fakes that are so subtle that people don't realize. Like he uses his eyes and his head a lot to make crazy passes that people just don't see coming. Just an awesome player.
Yeah, I agree with that. It goes back to the conversation we had. Fun. It's just been fun watching this new wave of players.
Yeah, really. Look at the top 5. You got Carlson, Bedard, and Celebrini in there. It's nuts. Only McKinnon is the OG in that top 5 right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
and McDavid, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Here's one for you. Maybe
Okay.
this is a good one to end on.
Okay.
The Nashville Predators will trade Steven Stamkos by the end of the year.
I think they'll want to. Will they succeed? What is he worth? $8 million for the next 2 years after
that
this
is a hefty chunk of change
It's $8 million per year or for both years?
per year. That is exactly the sound I think most Preds fans are making right now. And I will throw this out there for you, Greg. So me being the former Locked On Predators host, do have some connections. And I will say from what I've heard, Steven Stamkos does not want to leave Nashville.
Oh, wow. We got a little
The
insider
keyword is
scoop.
not want to leave. And I'm kind of like, this is kind of my 2 cents right now, but I feel like he would only leave if the Nashville Predators went to him and said, "We want you to leave." So I will throw that out there. But, I will say, I feel like the Preds need to make a decision on that soon, because I don't think that dynamic is working.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think their season is salvageable at this point, but yeah, long-term move. I think you got to try and move on from him if I'm them. Do I think they will succeed? I don't know. I'm not sure.
That is a tough trigger to pull.
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, like a tough logistics nightmare to work through. Let me
say. Right. And I don't really know who's willing to pay that money. That can pay that money and would get use out of him for 2 years. It's, I don't know. Let me twist yours a little.
Okay.
Do the Lightning ever pick him up and give the Preds a few young guns that they don't necessarily need right now?
No, because how does that fit in the Lightning cap situation right now?
Well, that's the issue, right?
Like in a year from now, like if the cap goes way up next year and the Preds are paying half of that salary, maybe, but I don't know. And I do get the sense that Steven Stamkos would be chomping at the bit to come back to Tampa if the opportunity presented itself. But if you're the Lightning, it's just, boy, I don't know if I don't know if you're going to invest at least $4 million a year into Stamkos still being on the team for 2 more years after this one too. So especially with, some of the young guys that they want to break up. So if the situation presented itself and there's a creative way to work him in, yeah, I would see the Lightning would definitely be interested in it. I just don't know logistically how that happens.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think you lose some quality players in that process, and I just don't know that that's even really worth it, to be honest with you.
I think also whatever cap space you do have when the cap goes up next year and some contracts start coming up the books, to me, if you're JBB, I look at that and say there's probably another big swing to be had, like a Jake Gensel swing from a couple of years ago. So yeah. I don't know. I don't see it happening. It'd be cool if it did, but no.
Yeah, I'd really like to see this is such a side take. I'd really like to see the Lightning make a big swing for like a defenseman this year, because I feel like I've asked for that for 2 years and we haven't seen it, and I think that's the play right now. But anyway,
you don't need a big defenseman. You have Darren Radish at home.
Yeah, he's so good.
Lately, he has been.
No, he's been great. We'll see how he is in 5 more games.
Yeah, we'll see. But look, a lot to get to on these hot takes here. Be sure to tune in a few weeks from now where Greg asks me if Macklin Celebrini is a top 5 NHL player and if the Avalanche are going to break the record for fewest losses in a regular season. Lots coming up on Locked On Lightning. Remember, tomorrow we will have your recap from the Islanders game, including plus minus and some of the big storylines, and a lot more to get to this week. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Back with a new episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.